Hey, Baseem, what's going on, man? Good to be talking to you today.
How's it going, Trip? All good. Good to see you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be chatting with you. I feel like you have a very interesting niche that I haven't seen on YouTube before, where you really focus and hone in not just on sex, but really a lot about male enhancement and male endowment and insecurities around size, as well as I know you have some sex tips and things like that. But really, it seems like your channel is really focused on helping guys in that arena. Is that right?
Yeah. It seems like guys are very interested in that topic. I initially started my channel just reviewing books, and nobody actually cared. But when
Wait,
I
hold on.
started,
Reviewing like reviewing like any book?
yeah, just any books, just random like self improvement books, and nobody cared. And the moment I started talking about penis and penis size, circumcision, and all the things that guys are interested in, everybody started listening. So I kind of doubled down on it, and I'm generally interested in it myself. I just didn't think that a lot of other people are interested in it as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as guys, it's something that we have been thinking about since the moment we realized that we had one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's definitely something that a lot of guys have, to my knowledge, really, I think they've over focused on,
Yeah.
and it's something that is almost over analyzed to death. Maybe you see that a little bit.
Yeah, in
Um,
fact, because I'm in touch with a lot of the guys that I'm helping them, get their penis size bigger, and some of them actually booking calls with me, and they have like an insane size. Like some come to me and they're like, "Dude, I'm 9 inches and I want to get to 10," and I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what? What are you going to do with that size? Like, why would you do that? And I just couldn't, honestly, I couldn't find an explanation besides the fact that we're all basically obsessed with our size. Everybody just wants to be bigger, better. Everybody's looking for the wow reaction, be it from girls or from guys in the locker room, like, I don't know. But yeah, it seems like most guys are simply not satisfied with what they have and they're trying to make it bigger.
how much do you think pornography has to do with this issue?
A lot. In fact, I think pornography has like 99% to do with that issue.
Yeah,
Perhaps
exactly. That's
the
that's
other
why I brought it up.
1% is
Yeah.
like, you've been to the locker room or something and you saw some guys naked and you thought you're not as big as they are, maybe. But I don't think like that's the case for most people. I think just too much porn because it's the most available thing. Everybody did watch porn. Obviously there's no porn
Hmm.
actors with small penises. So
Maybe there should be though.
there should be, I'm pretty sure there's like some niche category that nobody watches or like very specific
Right.
audience watches. uh, but yeah, so guys are affected by that, and they forget to realize that a lot of it has to do with angles, and a lot of the porn stars are not as big as guys think they are.
So maybe the camera is making it look a lot
Yeah,
bigger.
for sure, absolutely. Like it's the job of the cameraman in uh, porn production to make it seem as big as possible, and they use wide angles. They know how to position it. I'm not saying they're small by any means, but you know, some people might see it. They think it's like 10 inches, where in fact it's like 7. Um, but yeah, and guys are generally watching this and feeling insecure, or they feel like this is the only way to satisfy a woman, which is, I think, the most common thing I keep hearing is that guys think that, oh, if I was just bigger, then women are going to fall in love with me, or they're going to be satisfied in bed, or they're going to come back. But what they fail to realize is the woman's orgasm is actually starting in her head and not down there. And if you can really connect with her emotionally, uh, it's gonna much more satisfy her in bed than adding half an inch or an inch to your size. And that's not to say that you shouldn't improve your body, but what I'm saying is a lot of the times guys are focusing on the wrong things rather than you know um, getting the basics right.
Well, that's great. I want to go over some of that stuff today as well. But let's back up a little bit. You told us a little bit about how you got into this when you started giving book reviews, which I love. Such a big jump.
Yeah.
But tell us, how did you even get into that? Like, what's your history, and how do you know so much about what we'll be talking about today?
Yeah. So funny enough, I was actually very insecure about my size, like many years ago, back in college, and I was researching those things, um, and I had some of the devices that I talk about on my channel. I had them like in my storage place. Like wasn't using them. I just was too lazy to use them, and after I started my YouTube channel, I saw, like, I was unpacking stuff and I saw that the device that I had, and I was like, huh, I wonder if I make a video about it, like that might be interesting to some people. So I made the first video about it, and turns out a lot of people were interested in it. And so that got me to focus more on the topic, focus more about me getting results with the device as well, uh, trying many different methods, reviewing different devices, and and kind of escalated from there.
What made you passionate about this?
I honestly, I can't say I'm passionate. It was more of an insecurity that I've had. But then, like, when I started using the device and I started seeing results, I honestly, like, up until I started putting in proper time, I really thought that it didn't really work, but I just wanted to try whatever. But then I'm still with my current girlfriend, and she commented on my size. She's like, "You're getting a lot bigger than you used to be," and I was like, "Hold on a second. I thought it was a scam. I was pretty sure it was not gonna work." And there was my girl that was, you know, complimenting my newly acquired size. And so I was like, holy shit, maybe it does actually work. I should just put in more time. And and yes, that's all I did. I've been putting time ever since and making videos about that, telling other guys that they can get the same. And a lot of other guys have been getting much better results than I am, actually.
Okay, cool. So, what are you teaching them in terms of how to do that?
So mostly it's different stretching techniques, how to use each and every device. Most importantly, how to not get injured while using it, for how long to use it, how much to stretch. Currently, I even made my own device. So after reviewing pretty much every device on the market, I realized most of them had some flaws in them that I wished I could improve. And I actually went out and contacted companies and I asked them, "Hey, can you actually improve your device? Can you fix this? Can you fix that?" And they
What did you
basically all
want
declined.
fixed?
So it was in terms of comfort. Most devices that are on the market were not that comfortable. So I made a device that has like a padded silicone. Most devices you couldn't actually tell how much tension you were applying, so you couldn't know how much you're stretching, so you could easily injure yourself. So I made a device where you could actually read exactly how much tension you're applying. Um, and we added like the feature to, some people prefer vacuum cups that are this way, some people prefer a vacuum cup from a different brand, so we made the device to adapt to any vacuum cup basically. um, and a bunch of other features. But what I also did is I created an app that comes with the device that
Hmm.
basically gives guys that are new to this a routine that they can do, because most guys are just coming, they don't know how to start, how much to stretch, how to do it. So I give them a course and a routine for them to start, so that they know how to do it and they don't just go injure themselves by stretching too much. There's actually a lot of ways you can injure yourself, but yeah. So that's how I did it. I basically created my own because I most companies that I wrote to, they did not want to kind of upgrade their device.
Wow, interesting. Are a lot of people getting this?
Uh, yeah, so far there's quite a few. We just launched actually like a week ago. So we just started shipping a week ago. It was product in development for a while because I was just hearing to everyone else's feedback and making it. But yeah, so we just started shipping, and I can't wait for to get the feedback of people on the device. I try to make it as good as I can. So yeah, we'll
Total,
see.
totally safe, 100% safe, all natural, everything.
All natural. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's literally like stretching any part of your body, right? Like, you feel like your back is sore, you go to the gym and you stretch and it feels better. um it's like a similar concept, just on your dick. And you stretch it for long enough, it kind of grows. So that's how it works. It's a very simple concept.
Do you think that anything with this product is, contributing to the factor of guys being insecure about how big they are? Like, do you think that this is just something that is telling guys, "Hey, you're probably not big enough. You should use this." Like, do you have recommendations for people who come to you and say, or you say to them, like, "Okay, if you're this size, this is probably good for you to use," or if you're this size, you shouldn't use it, or anything like that?
Yeah, so funny enough, even though it's my business and like I actually make money from people buying the device, I generally, for most guys, when they come in, they ask me like, "Do I need the device?" I say, and most guys are normally within the average, right? So they're within like 5.5, 6 inches. Most guys come to me, they're even bigger than that. They're like, they rarely actually ask, "Do I need the device or should I use it?" But when they do, I actually tell them that no, you don't. Like,
Wow.
if you're within the average, you do not need to use this device. If you want to use it, it's a different story. You do not need to, because that's not what's going to make the difference. Like, it's not, having between 5.5 inches to 6 inches, or 6.5. It's not what's going to make a massive difference. Like, learning how to use it is what's going to make a massive difference. Learning how to connect emotionally, learning how to do everything else that happens in bed besides just penetration, that's what's going to make you better in bed, and not that half an inch. But most guys don't care about that, to be honest. They just want it bigger because ego, because obsession, because a lot of things. And don't get me wrong, I'm one of them. Like, I want to have it bigger. Even though, like, my girl tells me that it hurts at some positions, I still like, it's for me, it's for my ego. And I think a lot of guys share the same opinion.
Do you have any guys that you say, "Oh, you absolutely should use this"?
No.
Guys who, for example, are below the average.
Not really. No, I never say it because also the results, like, it's kind of difficult to tell somebody when you don't know what kind of results they're going to see. So if he's like really small, I don't want to mention numbers, um and he might gain like another 50%, no, sorry, not 50%, half an inch. Like, is that what's going to make a difference? I don't know. So,
Is that what it
regardless,
does though? Your techniques and product, it gives half an inch.
it gives actually the gains that you get depending on your initial size. So that's my point, is somebody who is very small, they're not going to become very big. Okay, so they're going to become not as small. And somebody who's average, it might become a bit more than average, and somebody who's big is going to become a bit more than big. So normally the gains um, can be up to 30% of initial size, right? I haven't,
It's
I
funny.
haven't,
It's like such a shame. It's like the people who think of themselves as smaller want the kind of results you'd get if it was already bigger. I guess is it
yeah,
just that there's more skin, there's more muscle there?
exactly. There's just more tissue to expand, right? So if you're stretching like 2 inches of tissue and you're stretching 7 inches of tissue, there's much more for the 7 inches to expand in terms of percentage than the 2 inches. So that's my point. Is like at the end of the day, the ones that are small, they're not going to become super big. I've never seen that happen, and the 30% is like the top. I've also never seen anybody gain as much. Um, Normally, it's like the most I've seen is a bit below 2 inches of gain. So yeah, and those guys that are gained a bit less than 2 inches, they started as above average. It's not like they started small and they gained this kind of size. Um, so my point is, I would never tell anybody to use that. It's just guys are gonna use it anyway. So I thought to myself, might as well make the best product that I could make.
So tell me more about, what we can do as we're listening to this that we can do on our own. Like, do you have any tips, techniques, things that we can do here without using the instrument, so to speak, in terms of how to, get bigger? And then maybe you can explain how that product works too.
Yeah, sure. So I've actually seen guys, because I talked with a lot of guys that are into this. I've seen guys gain quite a bit of size by jelking, which is basically massages that you can do with your hands. Um, Sort of like stretches that you can do by just gripping the base and working to the tip. Um, those exercises or massages can be done at home with just oil or lubricant or whatever for 15-20 minutes, and eventually they give results, but the results are mostly in girth rather than length, which is, by the way, what girls normally care more about. But for some reason guys are obsessed with length more, maybe because it's more visible when it's flaccid, but I have no idea. So yeah, you can definitely do the stretching with your hands. It just takes a bit more efforts than just wearing the device and keeping it on for an hour or two.
Wow. So you have to keep the device on for how long?
That's the thing. It depends. So if you are using low tension, and by low tension I mean up to 1,200 grams or 1.5 kilos, something like that, you need to wear it for longer. And by longer, I mean multiple hours in the day.
So it's a weight.
Yeah, yeah. So you gotta wear it for longer. But if you are doing high tension, then you can wear it for less. So you can wear it for like an hour of high tension. Again, I don't want to give numbers in terms of high tension because I don't want people to injure themselves. Um, but high tension, you kind of have to work your way up to that. So I wouldn't recommend anybody to go ahead and start stretching with like 7 or 8 pounds first time they start stretching, because you're just going to injure yourself. But it's something that you can get adapted to, and then you can start stretching with higher tension and then lower time.
Got it. Well, let's move into, how we can please women in the bedroom without having to worry about size. I know you talk a little bit about that. So for guys who are maybe insecure about their size, they're not sure, if they have the right size for women. Maybe you can go over that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So honestly, I think that mastering positions and mastering oral, and knowing how to use your fingers and knowing how to kiss um, will get you way further than just increasing your size by half an inch. Like if you just increase your size and you didn't work on the rest of the aspects, it's not going to make much, to be honest. If you don't know how to move, if you don't know how to kiss, how to talk, it's not going to really make much. So focusing on the rest of those things and you can, there's endless videos on your channel, for example, how to kiss, how to touch, how to do all of those things. Focusing on that is going to get you much further than just increasing your size, in terms of satisfying the girl that you're with.
Let's talk about some of those positions. What do you think are some of the best positions to do or to master if you don't feel like you're well endowed?
Uh, I don't know the names of the positions. I actually made a video, like a short, recently, listing some of those positions. But what you want to keep in mind is you got to think physics. So if you compress the the size of the vagina, and you can compress it by basically pressing the girl's legs towards her shoulders, for example, or closing her legs, like basically crossing her legs one on top of the other, doing all those sorts of position, like even with doggy style, just because the girl is actually like kind of bending, so it's kind of compressing the inside a little bit. That helps, uh, for her to feel like you're bigger than you actually are. Now the worst positions are, for
Oh, that's
example,
a good
mission.
tip.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never thought about that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so the worst positions are like missionary, or positions where the girl is basically flat, or maybe like, you're laying with your full body on top of her. Like those are the worst positions, because you know in some of them you have her whole ass in the way, and it's kind of making it smaller. Or like, also like in missionary, it's kind of not everything is going in. It's difficult to describe why, but there's the legs in the way and all that. But yeah, definitely, like some positions are going to be better than others, for those that have an average or below average size.
So positions, that's great where the legs are together. What else? What else can help here? I never heard that one. It's funny because that makes so much sense when you think about it, but I've
Yeah.
never that's actually that's the it's a unique tip and
Yeah,
I've heard a
another
lot in this
thing
area.
is that, when you get to like, there are some advanced, positions that I don't like, not everybody can do, but there's like a position called like a gorilla, where like you're kind of on top. It's like a lot of porn stars do it. They're like standing like with their leg. The girl's like almost in doggy style, and they're like from the top and not from the back. And what that does is that bends the penis downwards, and more of it is actually exposed. And on top of this, what it also does is, uh, due to how the penis is actually to the connective tissue with it to the body, uh, the connective tissue is always like trying to bring the penis up. So if you're pointing it downwards, it's actually, it feels harder. It feels like it's a much more intense feeling. So that position is also pretty great if you want to make her feel you more. Um, but yeah, those are the ones on top of my head. But yeah, I mean, if you kind of do all of those, you should be good.
What else can you tell us in terms of just the mindset of guys who are struggling with their size or just don't feel like they're big enough? What can we say to those guys here that are just super insecure about it?
I The thing I can say to the guys is actually pretty simple. It's like, you're not too small. The girl you're with is too big. Like, it's it has to be a
I love
match.
it. Put it on her.
Yeah, it has to be a match. So it's like you maybe you're not a good match for each other, and you don't have to just feel bad about yourself. Like, some girls have bigger than average vagina, right? Like, it's a thing. Like, some girls have it tight, some girls have it wide, right? So if you're below average, then find yourself a girl that has it tight. It's all about having finding a good match. And I can tell you one thing: for some girls, doesn't matter how big you are, it's never going to be enough. It's just never. Like, we got to remember that a baby comes out of there at some point, and nobody's nobody's dick is as big as a baby. So uh, you shouldn't feel bad
I
about
feel
yourself.
that should be in your tombstone. That's a great quote right there.
Yeah, seriously, like you could never be as big as a baby, and some girls are just wide, and if that bothers you, then maybe you're just not a good match, and you should find yourself a girl that is tight. And I can tell you that there are girls that are extremely tight, and even an average dick size is gonna be more than enough for them. You just gotta find yourself one. So yeah, that's another way to kind of fix the problem, is instead of making it bigger, just find a girl that's tighter.
I would imagine, and I don't have any data on this, but
Yeah,
just intuitively,
yeah.
women who are more petite, smaller,
I
shorter,
disagree. I from
you might be fine. Oh, yeah, tell me. I mean, I would imagine you might be finding that there, but yeah, maybe not.
from my personal experience, I didn't find it. I didn't find it the case. So I had my one of the first girlfriends I've had. She was like 182. She was way taller than me, and she had some of the tightest vaginas I've ever had. And
She
I've
was
dated.
tall and thin.
Yeah, she was tall and thin, and
Okay.
and the other girls I've dated that were very short, and they were, you know, they had a lot of space downstairs, so I couldn't find like
Were
a
they short and thin though, or were they short and maybe a little thicker?
no, I they were not thick. They were like maybe slightly curvy, but not thick. Like by curvy, I mean like a
Okay.
little bit of
Yeah.
ass. No, but not like skinny. Um, but yeah, no, I couldn't find any correlation. Maybe you could. I don't know. In your case, was that the case for you?
I mean, from what I remember, I think it was a little bit. But
Yeah,
again, I could also imagine a world in which you would meet someone who is super tall or super short, and you would think that it would be one way, but it's the other, you
yeah,
know? So, all right. Well, I guess that wouldn't be, I guess what you're going to need to do is just you're going to need to date. You're going to need to meet women, and
yeah,
whether or not they're short, tall, skinny, fat, whatever,
yeah,
you're gonna have to see what fits and what works best.
yeah. And there's also no correlation between like how tall the guy is and how big his dick is as well. Like
That's true. That's true.
it's
Yeah, I
it's
guess it doesn't
totally
matter. They can be
unrelated,
super short.
and a lot of girls can attest to that.
How do you mean? You've heard stories.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely heard stories from girls that they like they were kind of having bad luck with guys that didn't have a good size, and they wanted to just like go out there and like find, like intentionally find a guy that they think will have like a big dick so that they will have sex with, and and they went like to the bar, whatever, and they picked like the biggest guy they could they could find there. And some of those guys that were huge actually had a micro penis, which is like a rare kind of condition. So there's not really like a direct correlation. And by the way, I'm not saying tall guys have micro penises. Don't like, I don't want to be quoted on that. All I'm saying is there's no correlation. Like tall guys might have a big or small dick, and short guys might have big or small dick. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I guess yeah. That's kind of the point. Is you never know. Your actual size and body size
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Okay. What else can we talk about in terms of guys feeling insecure about their size, or guys wanting to be better in the bedroom, just in general?
Yeah. I would say most of the insecurities, most of the time, like they come from lack of experience and lack of access to sex. A lot of the guys that are contacting me and they want to make their penis bigger, they're normally not having sex to begin with, and it's making them insecure, and they think, well, it's because my penis size is smaller. So what I have to say to them is, go out there, put in the numbers, approach as much girls as you can, sleep with as many girls as you can, and you're going to be surprised that a lot of them are going to be satisfied with your size, the majority of them. Because let's be honest, most guys are average. They're not porn stars, and most girls are going to have to be satisfied with that size. Um, so it's just a matter of going out there, dating a lot, having a lot of experiences, becoming better in bed generally. And when you see that, you've had so many experiences, you see a lot of girls that want to see you again, they want to have sex with you again, even though you have an average size penis. Then you start realizing, well, maybe it's not about my size, maybe I was just overthinking it. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think guys should just focus on the basics, on just dating more girls, uh, dating in general. A lot of guys are not even going out there and meeting girls. I mean, it's also, you're helping a lot of guys do that as well on your channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So
There was a statistic that came out that said, what was it? Men ages 18 to 24, a majority of those men have never approached a woman in their life,
yeah, it's
which
crazy. It's
is
crazy.
mind blowing.
And
Yeah.
I blame all of this on social media, to be honest. Like, I
Oh,
think
100%.
I think Tinder, Instagram, like, destroyed dating completely. They
Yep.
skewed the perception of how dating should look like. They give the illusion that people have more options than they actually do. It's pretty funny that, a lot of girls would go on Tinder. They'll have like 1,000 matches, and they'll be on Tinder for years and never get a proper boyfriend out of that. But they would still believe that they have a lot of options. So it's kind of, yeah, it's just terrible any way you look at it, because it's like the donkey chasing the carrot, and it can never catch it. And you always, it also makes people to never be satisfied with what they have, just because it seems like there's a lot of fish out there. So yeah, I think the only way for guys to actually be confident and to become good with women is to ditch all the social media and to just get out there, man. Let's just go to the supermarket, go to the mall, just ask a girl her opinion, whatever. Just interact with women more, and you just become more comfortable talking to them. And that's the best way to approach. It's also the best way to create a positive initial impression on the girl, because like on Tinder and social media, all you have is a photo, just like everybody else. And nowadays, with photos, with filters, with all the stuff that you can do, it's not even like a fair competition. It's just nonsense. It's like, who can pose better or photoshop the photo better. It's so, if you go out there and you actually charm the girl when you talk to her, she's going to prefer you over all the other photos that she's going to see online. So it's a much better way to impress a girl.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, that's what I talk about, all the time, every single day in our coaching program and my videos and my podcasts is just getting out there talking to women and knowing that you have such a better chance to make a better impression because they can actually experience you and your personality when you go
Yeah.
out and actually meet someone. Because if it's online, all they have is photos and stats on you, like a little
Yeah.
resume. Now, I also, believe that as a guy who's trying to get a lot of options, you should be also trying to meet women online because why not? But I'm just against only doing it online.
Yeah. Relying on
It,
it.
yeah, exactly, relying on it. And it is a shame that it has ruined a lot. Social media and the dating apps and the way technology has gone with the way that we can connect with each other. It has ruined dating for men and women. But it's that doesn't mean that it's not possible for guys to get results, and doesn't mean it's not possible for women to find a guy. It's just you have to have a new strategy. You can't
Yeah.
just go at it normally or with no effort because if that happens, you might get minimal results. So it is about putting in that correct effort in. I'll even say something to the idea of pictures and the way that we perceive women online. I mean, I've been doing this show on my YouTube channel and podcast where I have women who come in and they we talk about dating, and I have an assistant that goes on Instagram
Yeah.
and she just mass DMs a bunch of women to see who would be interested in coming on the show and talking about dating, sex, and
Hmm.
relationships in 2023 and just, in this day and age. And, she's reaching out to women who have, profiles that make them look so much more attractive than they are in person. It's just crazy. It's like they
Yeah.
come in the studio and
You're
I'm like,
shocked.
wait, I'm like, is that you? Really, it happens about 90% of the time. The 10% of the time,
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, that does really look like you from the photos, and
Yeah.
the majority of the time, it's like, wow, that's not even you. So just be careful, guys. When you're going out there, not going out there, when you're staying in and then you're
Yeah.
swiping and you're meeting women and seeing women online. Don't get too intimidated or don't think that this woman is any more special just because she has some photos. You have no idea how. I mean, it's even getting better. I don't know if you know this, Basim, but like you can use AI at this
Yeah. Yeah.
point to
You can use
create your own
AI.
photos.
Actually, that's the fact that girls were improving their photos so much, enhancing their photos, um, is actually what made me kind of give up on Tinder and social media in general. Because I got burned so many times. I was living in Eastern Europe, and like I look at a girl's photos, and I'm like, come on, like how bad could she be? Like on her photos, she's like a nine, like a super hottie. I'm like, it can't be that bad. Like maybe just a tiny bit worse than that. And then you show up to the date, and it's like almost a different person. Like she gained 20 pounds or something. Her skin is all messed up, teeth are all messed up. I'm like, what? Why are you even doing that? Like, what goal are you trying to accomplish? Like, eventually, the
I'll
guy
tell
you're
you a
talking
goal
with,
to that
he's
she'll
gonna
get
know.
dates.
But I don't see
Well,
the point of it, though.
no, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you're gonna get some harsh when it's that big of a jump. You're gonna get some harsh reactions for sure. I
Yeah,
do tell guys though, Basim, I tell guys to add at least 1 inch to 2 inches of their height on
yeah,
a profile,
yeah,
just because if you do that on a profile, you'll get more matches and more opportunities. And
right.
you might get some women who show up and go, wait a minute. And they might be able to detect that 1 or 2 inches, but
Yeah,
at least it gives you an opportunity to meet some more women who you might not be able to meet, who at the end of the day are not going to be caring so much because they realize how you're an awesome guy.
yeah.
But
But
the
see,
thing is
that's
like
it.
you're talking about if a guy would add like 5 inches of height to their
Yeah,
profile in this example.
yeah. But see, the thing is that guys and girls are very different because guys, dude, we're visual creatures. So we care so much about how the girl looks like. But for a girl, if you did not look as good as your photos, but you were just an awesome guy on the first date and you were charming, you had great personality, you were funny, dude, they're gonna feel like you're more attractive than you actually are by the end of the
Yes.
date. While
Yes.
we as guys, if the initial impression of the girl was not great, it's not gonna improve that much. I gotta be honest. Like you're just gonna, it's gonna be the same girl by the end of the date.
Yeah, definitely more room for error for guys. That's why I would say to guys, it's like being a guy is awesome. That
Yeah,
having that room for error is fantastic
exactly.
because it's so much harder to change your look than it is to change your personality and your behaviors and your
Yeah.
charisma.
Yeah, that's so
You
true.
know,
As a guy, like if you're a guy that is like, I don't know, a six, dude, if you get like your style, your grooming, your body, going to the gym, charisma, being funny, making a little bit of money, you can jump from like a six to an eight pretty easily, I would say.
yep, 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 100%, exactly. Basim, any other thoughts that you have? I know we got a little off tangent, but still was a great tangent. But any other thoughts you have, to help guys who are just struggling with their insecurities with penis size, other than of course getting your product or working on that, with the stretches and those good things. Is there anything else you can tell these guys?
To be honest, if it's about insecurities, I would rather, as we discussed, just get the numbers in. But if you really want to improve your size, like you just insist that, oh, my problem is my size and nothing else, there's not much besides stretching and doing exercises. Like once you start going into the route of surgery, it becomes very dangerous. A lot of guys are not satisfied with the surgery. There's another option of uh, penis fillers, where they inject hyaluronic acid into the tissue of the penis and they make it like thicker. And it's not much longer, but it's quite a bit thicker. But even that doesn't go as planned most of the time. Not most of the time, some of the times. And on top of this, it does reduce the sensitivity, so you're kind of enjoying sex less once you do it. So I wouldn't like. I was about to do it myself, but kind of backed off last second. Um, so really, the only way to increase your size is by stretching, as far as I know, up until this point. But most of the time, what I can tell guys is your size is actually more than enough. And if you're not sure and you want to like verify it 100%, first get a lot of girls, sleep with a lot of girls, and then once you have like a good number of girls, then you can go and ask them about your size. I personally did that myself. It takes a lot of courage to do it, but you can go like talk to your last 10 partners, and if you haven't had 10 partners, you gotta go get 10 partners, and ask them, what did you think about my size? Was it like average, above average, below average, was it enough? And then get feedback. And you'd be surprised that most of the girls are gonna say that you were just fine in terms of size, and it was all basically in your head. And sure, there are gonna be 20% maybe or 10%, who knows, that are gonna be like, yeah, well, you were like smaller than I would have preferred. But you're going to see that the majority are going to be happy with what you have, because most guys have an average and the insecurities are just in your head. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with you,
Awesome.
basically.
Awesome. I like it. I like it. I like that as a guy who sells a product to increase penis size, that you're not just spitting a bunch of uh, insecurity marketing just to make guys buy your product. And you're almost like, listen, I have this thing, if you really want it you can use it, but you don't really need it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because
that's it.
most guys really don't need it, and most guys have a normal size. A lot of guys have above average size. um, but yeah, I just decided to create the product because I wanted to use it myself, and I saw some flaws in the market and I just wanted to make a superior product. um, Currently, I haven't made money on it. I spent way more on development of the device than the sales that I'm making. But all I wanted to do is just create something that I'm proud of. I don't want to be pushing it in the face of people and preying on their insecurities. I just wanted to create something that I'm proud of, and that's about it.
Awesome. Very cool. Basim, where can people find you and find any information on your product?
So you could basically go to my channel, Baseem. Just search Baseem or go to channel Baseem. You're gonna find me. Also, to check out my product, you can go to bestextender.com. Uh, I named it a cheesy name, Best Extender, because I wanted to make it the best penis extender. So yeah, you can find the product there.
Awesome. Cool. We'll put some of that info in the show notes. And just so you guys know, this is not affiliate based. I do not make a dollar off of this. I'm just allowing, Basim to advertise what he wants, because he was a guest on today's show and was able to give us some really good tips and some mindset. So Basim, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And be cool to talk to you in the future when you start diving into some other things. We'll see where the road takes you.
Thank you so much, Trip.